Hello, and welcome back to week 3 of On My Mind with Josh. And today, what's on my mind is the word intention. And the word intention is on my mind because we're pretty early on in the semester, and it's pretty easy to put things off. And it's really handy when we put things off early on in the semester because, hey, we get more time, we get more free time. But what it does when we're not slowly chipping away at our schoolwork is it begins to pile up as the semester builds, as our classes get more busy, as our lives get more busy, as we become to sort of be used to the routine, and we sort of sometimes get burned out of the routine. So it's easier for us to get complacent and tune out if we're not being intentional. And being intentional means to be doing things on purpose with purpose, right? So on purpose with purpose. Now, when we think about intention and how it belongs to mental well-being, I come to the 4 areas that is the whole person approach to social work, right? In social work, we're taught to look at the whole person when we're doing an assessment and when we're deciding how to improve well-being or mental well-being within that person, right? And the same applies to us, right? The same applies to me. I'm very much as human as anybody that's listening to this, as you are. And when I think about that and I'm not being intentional, I'm not doing things on purpose with purpose, I begin to slip in my health, right? And that's my mental health, that's my physical health, that's my social health, my spiritual health, right? That's all those 4 areas because I begin to start eating, and binge eating is one of the things that I begin to do, and that impacts my depression and impacts my anxiety as well because my health isn't very good in those moments, right? So that's my first clue that I need to start taking care of myself. And many of us have different clues or cues that cue us into when we're doing the opposite of doing things on purpose with purpose, right? So the first intention we'll talk about is biological health. And with biological health, we're focusing really on what we're eating, how our bodies are feeling, what our bodies are telling us, kind of where the discomfort is within our bodies, right? And we also talk about physical activity, right? So making sure we're walking and eating correctly and things like that. And there's a huge body of research that talks about how much movement and nutrition can impact our mental health, right? In terms of anxiety and depression and whatnot. The next thing we'll talk about is our social health. And social health intention would be making sure we're like phoning with a friend or talking with someone or connecting with someone throughout the day. Here it's really important to not focus on how many connections I have, but the connections I do have. So sometimes we might say, well, I only have one friend, or I only have, people that I see at school. Well, just think about that person, whether it's your advisor, whether it's a classmate, whether it's a lifetime friend that you've had since elementary school. Give them a call, talk with them, be intentional about connecting with them each and every day, even if it's only 5 minutes, right? So when we move on to the next area, the third area, so we've gone over biological, social, now let's go over our psychological health, which involves our mind and our brain, right? So our brain health, our mind functioning, and our emotional health. We do this by, well, you can talk to a therapist, right? That's one way to do it if we're not doing very well and we need a little bit of an assist. Just like medications, we might need some assist from a medication if we are diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder or major depressive disorder. And if you're feeling those things, please reach out to me or one of the counseling team members, or call your doctor, or if it's an emergency, call 911 or call 988 if you're feeling like you're having some suicidal thoughts and things of that nature. It's important to reach out to someone and talk to someone. But when we're being intentional and doing things on purpose with purpose, we're doing things like mindfulness, right? So that's creating space for us to properly identify what our minds are doing and notice what our minds are doing. And we do this through practicing how to identify our emotions and learning how to identify our emotions. And sometimes we do this through journaling or meditation or mindfulness and things like that. Lastly, we'll talk about spiritual health, which is largely done through gratitude processes, appreciating things bigger than us, and really through meditation as well. And again, here we can look at our religious practices as well, because those are very vital to our spiritual health as well. But it's important for us to focus on all four areas and making sure we're doing things with purpose, on purpose in each of those areas, right? So doing things with intention. Now, lastly, and this is a little bit of a longer one I'm seeing, the intention journal is our tool, right? So an intention journal helps us focus on the four areas that keep us healthy and gives us space to reflect on how we're doing during our busy school days, right? Because if we're healthy in all those areas, we perform better in school, we perform better in just really a lot of our areas, right? Now, it's going to take a lot of resilience and forgiving yourself often, and just to know that it's okay, right? We are human. We're not going to do this perfectly, but if we're trying and we're being intentional and we're doing things with purpose, on purpose, we can do these things, right? And in any of these areas, if you're struggling, please reach out to me or the other therapist or the DEI coordinator or your advisor or your teacher or all the people at Western Iowa Tech who can help you in all these areas. Just please reach out if you need to. Now, I'm going to leave you with that, and we hope to see you next week. Thank you.